I am going to show you open chain. I have taken 2 strands of skein. In the same point you take a stitch, take a small stitch. This is the line we are going to work. We are going to start from here and come like this. So, in the same point you take a stitch. For open chain you have to wind only outside the line. For normal chain we used to wind any side, either left to right or right to left, but for open chain whatever line we are using, wind the thread from outside the line. Do not make it tight, make a loose stitch. When it is still loose, take a stitch from inside. Generally we used to take the, for normal chain we put the needle into the chain. Now slightly pull the thread and towards the inside, take a stitch towards the inside and take a stitch on the line. Wind from outside the line. Do not make it very tight, let it be a little loose. Take a stitch into the chain, pull it little towards the inner side, take a stitch on the line, wind from outside the line. Do not make it very tight, do not pull it tight, let it be a bit loose. Put the needle into the chain, pull it towards the inner side a bit, and from the inner side take a stitch on the line, wind from outside the line. Make a loose chain, go towards the inner side of the chain a bit, pull a bit towards the inner side, take a stitch on the line, wind from outside the line, pull the thread towards the inner side and take a stitch. Open chain. Most important, in the turnings, in the corners, don't make it very tight. At the same time, do not make bigger stitches. Most important, in the corners you have to make smaller stitches. Only then it will be consistent. We have come to the end of the petal. Finishing the end of the stitch, the last stitch. If you just go down here, you can see the loop up. It is sort of incomplete. So, finishing the open chain is just go down outside. Take another stitch on the other side where we generally usually take the stitch. Take a stitch on the other side, just make a couching stitch here. Only then the open stitch is complete. If you don't do another couching stitch here, the shape of the open chain, it will not get pulled till here, it will not be an open chain. This loop might tend to go along with this one, it might get closed. This is how we finish a open chain, the end of the last piece of the open chain. Again, start from here, the next point. Starting the same way, same starting point, take a stitch on the line, wind only from outside the line. Don't make it very tight. When it is still loose, just pull the thread towards the inner side and take a stitch on the line. The corners you take shorter stitches. Otherwise you will not get a gradual bend in the corners. Now the last part of the open chain, the last stitch. Instead of taking a stitch outside, we have to come down here the starting point and make another couching stitch at the other side. Pull the thread like how we usually take the open chain stitch, same point, couch it in the. Now you can see we have couched this point and this point. Both points have to be couched. Both stitches have to be, both sides of the chain have to be couched.